Hey, I'm Sarah Frischner. I used to be the food editor at the Courier Journal, but now I work for the city of Louisville, and I try and bring more Kentucky food, farm food, into the city at various places like Jefferson County Public Schools and U of L. And I also try to eat local at home and seasonal at home because seasonal tastes best. So I've pureed some butternut squash and put it in a container in the freezer. And today I'm going to make butternut squash soup, which you could make in any flavor. You can do it with chipotle chilies and ancho chilies and cumin and make it sort of Southwestern, or you can make it with tomatoes and peanut butter and make it sort of African, or you can do what I'm doing today and make it Thai. And today I'm going to put ginger, fish sauce, Thai curry paste, which you can get at the supermarket. I'll show you what it looks like, and a little shallot. So this is the shallot. It's like an onion, only smaller, and it is a little more garlicky than an onion. If you need to use an onion, you can do that, but I just like the flavor, and I cut it real small, and it sort of hides in the soup, so I don't, it's just not big and chunky and sweet sometimes like an onion can be, which I love onion, but today I'm using shallot. You can also substitute garlic. So the best way to chop a shallot for me is I chop it in half and then kind of cross hatch it, and I'll show you how to do that, so that you can just slice down and mince it. So I'm cutting the shallot in half. You'll see it's kind of like, sort of has a clove like garlic, and I'm just going to separate that. And then I'm just going to slice in thin slices, but not all the way through. I'll put that down on the flat side. Do the same thing, cutting vertically toward the core, but not all the way through. And then you can just slice across and mince the shallot that way. You can do the same thing with an onion. You can actually do the same thing with garlic, although it's much smaller. And I don't use the core because a French cook once told me not to, so I don't. If you want to, you can. And that goes into just a light coating of oil that's in the pan. It's just probably a tablespoon and a half. And I'm going to let this soften. And if I had fresh ginger, which actually grows in Kentucky, and you can buy a lot of fresh ginger at farmers markets in around September. Some farmers grow it in a greenhouse, and it's ready in September, and then they'll sell it at their market stands. I am going to use store-bought ginger because I used all my fresh ginger, my farm ginger up, but I also put that in the freezer. So I buy a whole ginger root, I just stick it in the freezer, and you can just break off pieces as you need it. So this is my store-bought ginger. I went to the store today to look for fresh ginger, and it was kind of wrinkled and small and looked kind of old, and it's pretty expensive. It was like $7 a pound. So I thought I'd probably have less waste, and the price would probably come out the same with this already peeled and pureed. Very handy. So as soon as my shallots soften a little bit, I'm going to add the ginger and let that cook a little bit, and then the rest of it's easy. You just dump. I'm doing probably 2 tablespoons of pureed ginger. Minced ginger would be fine. I love ginger, so can't be too much. We're going to soften the ginger for a second, and then we're just going to dump the rest of it in. So this is Thai curry paste. It comes in green and red and yellow, and you can buy it in much bigger containers if you go to a specialty shop, an Asian food store, or some place that carries a lot of Asian ingredients. These are little tiny jars that you can buy at any supermarket in their sort of Asian food section. This is fish sauce. It's the distinctive flavor of Thailand, Southeast Asia, really, Thailand and Vietnamese food. Each country has its own special fish sauce. probably the stinkiest thing you'll ever cook with in a kitchen, but it makes food taste fabulous. And this is coconut milk. Again, I've just bought this at a regular supermarket. Often when I go to an Asian supermarket, I'll buy 6 or 8 cans and just keep them on the shelf. But this came from the regular suburban supermarket, so it's really no problem to get. So this is my local pureed squash. It's about 6 cups. You could also do this with leftover sweet potatoes. It's delicious with sweet potatoes, actually. So I'm going to pour in the coconut milk, and I'll use that can for water in a second. And then you add as much Thai curry paste as you can stand. Thai curry paste has chilies and ginger and lemongrass and all kinds of Asian seasonings, and I love it. So for this soup, I'll probably put in a tablespoon or maybe a little more, and if that may be too hot for you, may not be hot enough. So, and you can always add red pepper, of course, if all you want is heat. But Thai curry paste is just delicious. It's just really well-rounded flavors. And then the fish sauce, again, just a little bit goes a long way, and you're not going to believe how bad it smells. But put in a tablespoon or so, and then just let that cook for a second. It's nice to simmer it for a while and just kind of let all the flavors get together. I'm going to use this can. I'm going to get about 3 cups of water. You could also use chicken broth. And I'm going to rinse out the squash from my bowl and just kind of get all the good stuff. Make sure it's in the pot and not in the garbage. So I've added salt and hot sauce to this because it tasted better. When I tasted it, it was a little sweet, and so I added salt because I hadn't put any salt into it. And it is a sweet vegetable, so I think it really needs some. And then added a little hot sauce because that's just the way we like it. You'll see when I dish this out that you can see little bits of shallot in there. If you think of a butternut bisque as a really smooth and silky thing, you might want to put a plunger in there, a blender stick and blend it, or you can put it in the soup in batches in a blender and whir it until it gets smooth. That's perfectly fine. So I'm going to just dish this up, and because it's Southeast Asian, I'm going to put a little cilantro with it. And because there's no dairy or anything in this, I'm going to add a little sour cream, but that's totally optional. And if you have a bunch of vegetarians visiting, or you're a vegetarian, you can just leave it out. It's no problem. You can add, told you chicken broth to this instead of water. You can add more coconut milk. You can add soy sauce. You can add, just mix it up a little bit. I wouldn't use the green curry paste because it might turn the butternut a funny color, but if that's all you have, green curry paste is delicious, and it'll just be a funny color. It'll still be delicious. So have a happy holiday, eat seasonally, shop at a farmer's market, and have a great day.